Hey, what's going on everyone? Shiva Sapkota here with another Tesla video. Today I'm going to be showing you detailed step-by-step guide on how to get a power frunk installed on a Model 3 Highland or Model Y Juniper. Most of the installation process between those two cars are pretty much the same because Tesla kept those parts the same. There is just a slight variation on the strut installation, and I'm going to try my best to show you those variations between the car as I go with the installation guide. I'm going to explain things along the way of how Tesla system works and what the new system does, so you not only understand how to install it, but also understand the concept behind why this power frunk works, how it works, where it gets the power, the risk, and everything along the way, the latch mechanism. I'm going to just explain everything to you and also show you where I am routing some of those wires so that you can follow along and hide your cables and motors on those areas as well. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Shiva Sapkota. I'm an engineer. I love taking apart things and machines and showing folks how to do the job, DIY. Lots and lots of Tesla videos in our channel. I've taken apart everything about the Tesla, hundreds of products in the channel if you go through my videos. If you like this type of stuff and would like to get more videos in the future, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let's continue. So let's go through the packaging here and wiring. Once you get a hang of the wiring and how this works logistically, it's just wire routing job at that point. So let's go through each of the components, and I'm gonna show you kind of like a map right here on where everything goes. You got those struts. We got to replace the original struts on both sides. They have got a wiring. They also have a bracket that we have to remove from the Tesla and reinstall it. So that's one of the main parts. It has got a wiring. It has got a wiring. That wiring all comes and connects to this control box as well as all the other wiring. So that's why the control box is in the center here. Then you got a battery connection. So that battery connector connects to your 12 volt, comes down, connects to one of the wire, comes to the control box. So far, if you're following here, strut, battery, the other strut coming and connecting to the control box that we're gonna mount. Then the final piece of this is the motor, and what it does is the motor is just connected. We're gonna mount this somewhere on the side of the car. That motor then has the connector with the latch. So they rely on existing Tesla's latch, and you've just got this small hinge here that we are going to add to the existing Tesla's controller, where this motor basically just pulls onto the existing latch and makes this work. So that's very simple. I'm going to show you where we just add it on the back of the existing latching system and connect that. Again, the motor connects on the side. Then you have got an emergency release. This goes on the tow hitch area in the bottom, where if anything, this system fails or Tesla dies or something, you can pull on this emergency latch system, and that basically allows you to manually release this whole unit here. And Tesla has emergency latch as well, so this is basically a redundant just for this system, or if you run into any issues, that's how you do it. So then all of that, there is a wiring that connects to the motor that goes and connects to the control unit, and that's pretty much it. So two struts, power supply, the motor going and connecting to the control box, and this install will be done. So this kit was sent to us free of charge by Tesstudio to install and review in our channel today. I have a link down below. They have got a lot of products in their website if you want to check it out. We have reviewed a lot of them in the past, and this is basically the frunk kit here. So it is the power frunk. You can get it for the Model 3, Model 3 Highland. This is the Model Y. It is not for our Austin or Berlin. They tell you which one it is, Model Y Juniper. So you can just select through what Model Y that you have. And there's also the Austin and Berlin one where the strut, the sheet metal may be slightly different than what it is. So just, as I say, be careful, look at what they have got going on. So here, if we select Model 3 Highland, we can go over here, add to cart, and I'm going to show you how you can save some money. So if you go here, we go to checkout, and on the checkout screen it says $359 right now, but if we were to put SHIVA Shiva Tesla as a discount code, that goes down by $71, bringing the total to $287. I'll let you be the judge if this is worth it for you or not. My job is to show you what the product does and how to do the installation process. This is affiliate code, so we do earn a very small commission at no additional cost to you, which greatly helps us bring videos like this in the future. Let's continue. So here's a couple of things that you're gonna need for this install. You honestly don't need much, but you're gonna need some wrench if you're gonna be doing this on a Model Y Highland. 13mm is what you need, but yours might be slightly different, so you're gonna need that, and preferably a really long one. I'm gonna show you why that is needed for a Model Y Juniper, but I'll put a link down below for a really long one. You're gonna need a small hook like this or a screwdriver, especially for the Model Y Juniper. You're gonna also need like a longer one of these pins, like a hook, where you can just press it and pop out the struts. I'll show you what to do that next. Here, pry tool. You're gonna need some sockets with 10mm and as well as 13mm here. You're also gonna need some electrical tape and some fishing cable for efficiency. Of course, you're gonna need all the zip ties that they send, so you can do wire routing, and optional, you can also use a power tool to remove some of these sockets here. But that's pretty much all you need as tool-wise to get this installed. Now, the installation of the power frunk for both the Model 3 Highland and the Model Y Juniper is exactly the same, except for the difficult part with the struts that are different between the two. Model 3 is a lot easier because your struts are visible and exposed there. We can just remove those. But for Model Y Juniper and all the Model Y, your struts are deep hidden underneath there. Let me show you what that looks like during the install process here, but just wanted to let you know that's the only difference. Everything else is exactly the same. Tesla did not change anything here. The latch, the routing, the motor, literally everything is the same, just the strut part is different. Now, the first step on this process, regardless of if you are Model 3 or Y, this looks exactly the same. All you have to do is reach under here and basically remove this panel. There are just a bunch of clips around, and you may have to use a pry tool if it is stuck, but basically that's what you do, is go ahead and unclip all of this, and as you see, this starts coming off. You just have to do it from both sides. Pull it gently, and this whole panel just comes right out. So that is super simple process. For a Highland, there is gonna be this unit here. Again, it's exactly the same. You just pull this and that comes out as well. Now we are ready to remove this panel. We need to reach over here and remove this panel. Removing this panel is extremely easy. You just have to go behind here and prop this out. So if it is a little too tight, you may need to use a pry tool, but usually it just props out like this. There you go. So this is loosened. You've got your bar here for the toe, and we need to disconnect this. If you have an older car, this tow bar might be right here, and this is a little lighter. This is heavier because in Highland they put it here, and I believe in Juniper too. To remove this, it's a super simple process. You just have to hold on to this clip and just simply pull this out, and it just comes out like that. So we're good to go. Now we can put this away, and then start removing this unit. So for this next step, we need to remove these 10mm sockets. There are only 4 in Highland, and I believe same in Juniper, but just check they're visible, like out there where you need to remove those. Any 10mm socket that you see, you can remove it. It might be on a clip right here. Some may have it connected there, and if you have like a regular Tesla Model Y, you are also gonna have a clip right here. So just be careful where this is going. It's super simple. It's the same process. So we're gonna use a 10mm socket wrench to remove that. And if you work in a car, you know that 10mm gets lost so easily. So take care of it. Let's go ahead and remove all of this. So again, super simple process. We're just going to use this ratchet wrench here. You can use a power tool. Doesn't matter. My advice is to leave this inside the front because we're gonna be removing it. And then so just go make your way around. There are just 4 in our case. Now your job is to basically go around and start pulling this up. There's gonna be some clips on the side. Don't apply too much pressure, but it's as simple as just popping this up. And as I say, be gentle. If it is not coming off, then something might be stuck. So just keep that in mind. But our case, we just have to make our way from one side and then go from this side and then pull this up. So right now, this does feel a little stuck. So I'm gonna check what is going on. Now, once you loosen everything from all ends, you can kind of grab here and then pull this out. If it feels like something is stuck here, just give it some force and it will just come off. This whole thing just comes out super easily. On mine, they had installed 2 red pins on the bottom there, which go like right here and on the other side. So while you're pulling it, you have to apply some force, but just keep that in mind. If it feels stuck, maybe it is those pins. Now, I've seen that on some cars, it even slides out from there. So Tesla is not really standard on a few of those models, depending on where it came from. So if it slides, if there is a little gap here that you see, that's probably what you gotta do. So for the Model Y Juniper, there are just a few slight differences. One is when you remove the front panel, you're gonna get a giant HEPA filter and you have to remove that as well super easily. There is just 2 10mm bolts on each side and you can just remove those 2 and the HEPA filter comes out. That exposes the battery for you all. To make your life a little bit easier, you can remove this piece. Just remove this plastic fastener by just using a pry tool like this and just prying this out and then do throughout. So there's 1, 2, and 3 there, and then that comes off. That gives you a little bit more room to see that grommet. So once you remove this plastic grommets here, they're super easy to get lost. So keep it in a safe place and then you can pop this out. Do the same thing on this side. Remove some of those plastic clips so that you can remove this piece, which makes it a little bit easier. So before we start messing with the struts, it's always advisable to have some kind of a support here. I have this little rod that is going to support this frunk from just falling or sagging when I remove this. This doesn't have to be strong, don't have to be pushing or anything. It just needs to hold the frunk just a little bit when we remove each of this strut. And my goal is to install both of them like one at a time so that I always have a support. But in case you wanted to remove both of them, you definitely need a support so that frunk doesn't close on you. So something like this, like if you have a telescopic rod that can adjust, that's great. This is what I could find right now in my garage. So we're gonna start with the struts removal process. So we gotta take this out completely and we also have to remove these brackets and install a new one. So let me show you how you can remove this strut. For a Highland or a Model 3, it's easier versus a Model Y or a Juniper. The bottom part is gonna be fully embedded somewhere here. So it's a little bit harder, but this 3 is much easier. So removing this strut is super simple on both sides. What you need to do is, if you look at it here, there is a little pin, like an opening there. And what you do is take a small flathead or a screwdriver like this, or a little pin or anything that goes inside this hole, and you basically just push it and then pull this one out a little bit. So if you look at it right here, what you can do then is simply pull this out. That is how simple this is to remove. It's super easy. Now let's go ahead and do that in the bottom as well. So the bottom is exactly the same. You just have to put that pin or a screwdriver like this through this notch here and then basically prop this out. And while this is propped out, you can then simply take this out and done. So now we removed the both sides and we're gonna wanna store this in a safe place. Now that we have removed the struts that you can see, our next job is to remove this bracket here and then install the one that came with the kit. Removing this is super easy. These are 13mm brackets here, so all you do is use a ratchet wrench, or you can use a power tool and essentially loosen this, and this just comes out super easily. Do not drop this, because it's gonna be a hassle to try to find it on the Tesla later. So be careful, take it easy, take your time. And then one more on the bottom. We're gonna do the same thing. And as you can see, this is loosening already. That's completely gone. Now we're gonna install a new bracket. So for the new bracket, you will know which one is which because of the arrow. So if you look at it, it says top, and this will only make sense because for this to be top and still have this, it will just face this way. So you know this is the right one for here. And then the other side would have this guy because it has the arrow, because otherwise the arrow would be facing bottom if we try to put this here. So that's how you know which one is which. Now we bring the right one, insert this, and then grab the bolts that we removed earlier, and then start securing it into its place. We're gonna use the original ones. They didn't send an extra one or anything. That just makes it easy. If you ever have to remove this and replace it with the existing, you already have the right bolts in place here, and just use the ratchet or the power tool to simply tighten this. Now we're gonna go ahead and install this new strut so that it always has a support from one side, and then we're gonna remove the other one. But I like starting this in the bottom, and let me focus on the bottom and show you how this goes. So just like the Tesla's OEM one, this has a hole here. The pins are slightly different because you can just kind of pull on this and then it will loosen. What you do is take this hole here and essentially just align it to this bottom port. I don't know how easy it is gonna be to see. And then your job is to just simply push it. Let me show you a little bit closely from this side. If you look at it here, there is that hole, and there. That is how easy this was. The bottom piece is done. Now let's look at the top piece. So the bottom one is in. We're gonna do the same thing on the top one here, and if this feels a little bit short, it is a little bit shorter than the Tesla. So what we have to actually do is adjust our pole here so that we can lower this frunk just a little bit. That allows us to then put the struts, and once we put the struts, we can put that panel again. So almost here. So that is set right there. Now all we do is again insert it here, and then I think this is in. Yeah, looks like this strut is in. It's not coming out. To remove it, we're gonna have to use the pin in the back, but this is good to go. So both the top and the bottom ones are fully in here. Now let's go ahead and do the other side. So same thing on this side. Let's first remove the top one. You put this little pin here, open this, and once that is open, you can simply slide this out, and that just comes out like that. At this point, again, as I said, the frunk might fall, so you need to make sure that you have the support in place. And as I said, on the other side, the bottom piece is exactly the same. There is a little notch here. You just put a hook or anything like this, and then simply pull this out, and super easily this comes out. And just like the other side, we gotta undo this 13mm bolt here, and it just comes off. We're gonna do both sides and remove both of this so we can free up this one. Then you guessed it, from the other side, because the arrow matches right here, we're just going to put this one in. Then we're gonna grab the bolts that we removed from here, the 13mm ones, and then start securing those into its place. We'll do that for both the top and the bottom, and secure both of them. And we're gonna install the strut just like the other side. We're gonna grab this and start with the bottom portion first. It just simply slides into here, and then you push it and it kind of clicks into its place. And we do the same thing on the top one. You align the hole here and then basically insert this in. And yeah, this is good to go. Looks like they put some lubrication here. So this grabs onto it, and yeah, this is good to go. Now we have installed both sides. Let's go ahead and do the rest of the install. All right, now let's talk about the Juniper. Of course, I don't have a Juniper. This is a regular Model Y, but the process is exactly the same as the older Model Y. We just have to replace that strut, and I'm just going to be showing you how to do that and where to unscrew and how to put the struts. Of course, I'm not gonna be able to do a live demo as I go, but I'll show you with enough parts. Hopefully it makes sense. So as I told you earlier, the Model Y Junipers, the strut is gonna be more difficult than the Highlands. Highland, we saw that the strut was just hanging out here. For Juniper, your strut is gonna be all the way down there. So if you look at it just there, let me see if I can show you clearly. So you saw the strut is just starting there and then ending it on the corner right here. So it does not go to the top like the Model 3 Highland, so Juniper is gonna be inside there. So first thing I would do is undo this clip here. So it's the same thing like the other one, just undo this. This allows you to put your hand underneath there and be able to work on that strut. The process is exactly the same as Highland, where you remove the strut by putting a little pin on one side and then popping out, but you have a little bit more work to do, and the space is super tight right there. So you just have to reach underneath this area here and put a little tip. It could be a small screwdriver, as we saw in Highland earlier. Basically, you need to push it, and then when you push it, this pops out a little bit, and then once it unlocks, you can just pull this whole thing and it comes out. The space is really tight here, so just keep that in mind. It's gonna take some time. Next thing after this comes out is you're going to reach on the top portion here and do the exact same thing. So if you look at it right there, I don't know how the lighting works out here, but basically you're gonna have to remove that one as well. Same deal, you just have to put a little sharp object there, pop out, and that allows you to remove that strut altogether. Now, after you remove this strut altogether, this bolt needs to be removed as well. You can use a long wrench to go here. I believe this is 12 millimeter, but I'll put a link with the confirm down below. You can get this long wrenches that you can reach from the top. I'll link some from Amazon, but basically you have to remove that bolt as well, and you have to be kind of careful. As you see, the space is tight and you don't want that bolt falling off. So loosen it a little bit and then use your hand to grab onto that bolt, and you need to completely remove that bolt as well. Now, once you remove that, you're gonna install a black bracket that they send you that looks like this right there. It'll only have one screw to put in, which is that same screw hole there, and basically you're gonna put that black bracket. Then that black bracket allows you to then put the new struts, because this bracket is not compatible with the new struts. So you're gonna remove that silver part. It just comes out with loosening that. Then you're going to align this new bracket there, put the screw in there. The bracket is gonna be a little bit smaller. I don't have the exact kit here. It's gonna be a little bit smaller with one screw. Then you put that in, and that allows you to then look at that. It has that port for you to be able to put this. Now for this top one right here, you don't have to do anything with the bracket. That bracket is welded on, so you don't have to remove that bracket. All you have to do is, once the bottom part is done, you bring the top portion of the strut and basically just insert it here. Just like the Highland that we saw earlier, this is the same process. The bottom one is a little bit of a pain in the butt because you have to remove that silver part and install a new bracket. Top one, you don't have to. So then you just have to install that and you are good to go. Now we're gonna be working on the latch part. So that would be this guy here. And we have some prep work to do before we do anything to it. First thing we need to do is remove this plug here. All you have to do is push this out. So once you pull this out, you have to simply push on this. So push this, and then while holding that down, you just have to pull this out, and the plug simply comes out like this. So this is done here. Now we need to do some work. So what we need to do is essentially remove this latch, add a new latch from the manufacturer, and then put this back on. We just have to slide one in. But the issue is that this needs to be well balanced so that your frunk doesn't sit at an angle or have trouble closing. Right now, if you look at it, they did a pretty good job with the markings here. So there is a marking, horizontal and vertical marking. So that basically tells you where to put this screw. But what happens is, once you put the new bracket on top of this, those markings are not gonna be visible. So you're gonna need to put electrical tape or masking tape all around here to mark the location where you want this. That's the easiest and best way to do it. Otherwise, you may have some calibration issues with where it is sitting and whatnot. So I highly recommend you put the masking tape right here. So now I have gone around and then put the masking tape all in the edges on both sides. So now I know exactly where this bracket needs to go once I reinstall this bracket after removing it. So this is very critical, so the alignment works out perfectly for you. Next thing we're gonna do is we're going to grab a 10 millimeter ratchet here and essentially loosen this two bolts. So both sides, we're going to be removing those. And it has a washer, so be careful while removing it. So one side comes out, and do this slow, because when we rush, things could fall on the crack right there, which you absolutely don't want. So there is your one. We're gonna do the other side and remove this. And you see how like easy it is to slide up and down and whatnot. So that's why we put the masking tape earlier. So we know exactly where to put this in. So for jobs like this, I recommend having a little tray like this so you can put all the screws in one place so they don't fall. Now this step may sound a little nerve-wracking, but it really is not. You just grab this motor here with the wires. So there's gonna be two wires on the motor assembly. One is the emergency latch and the other one is this guy here. And what we're gonna do is essentially, we're going to add this bracket together. So let me show you how to do that. Super simple step here. Now, before we go ahead and install that latch and everything, there's one more step that you need to take on a US-based Model 3 Highland. Maybe the China one is different, but basically, I want you to take that motor to this way. I haven't mounted yet. It's just sitting here. Just kind of snug it right here. It will close. The whole bracket will go in. No worries. We're going to be fixing that in just a second. But what I want you to do is take that, and then here's the emergency latch. And this is why. That motor needs to be mounted on the right side. Otherwise, this latch is going to be too short. So if we were to just mount this right here somewhere that, you know, the instructions was saying, if I wanted to mount it somewhere here, it is not going to get, the emergency latch cable is not going to be long enough to reach all the way to this side here. So we need to take it out and put it there. So for that reason, we're going to be mounting our motor right there, and then let me show you how we can route the cable. But even with mounting that motor there, this is going to be a little bit short because it can't come all the way through here. So what we need to do is actually undo this right here, and then that allows us to remove this panel just a little bit so we can slide this in, and then the wire can hang out somewhere there. So that's why I want you to kind of set the motor there so you know how long that latch cable is. Now, next step is we're gonna work on this. So as I said, we're just going to undo this 10mm here so that we can route this latch cable through underneath and between so it reaches here. And super simple process. We're just using our 10mm ratchet wrench here. So after you have removed that screw there, what you can do is, our goal is going to be putting this like this, the bracket facing our way here with the cable going this way. But temporarily what we do is lift this a little bit and pass the wire from the middle here and through this little screw. There you go. So that way it allows us to bring this bracket in a lot more inside, and we can still push this in without any issues. Just make sure it is not touching any of the stuff inside, and this is clear. But what this allows now for us is to secure this and then put this through here. So as you can see, this comes kind of in the middle, so that way this is not too short on the other end. Now just put this 10mm back in because we're not gonna need that. We just wanted to route that cable through the middle here. So we're just going to be securing this back in place. So just like any of my videos, I like explaining things on how it works and why it makes sense, not just blindly show you how to do things. So here, this is the actual latch from Tesla. So let's first understand how Tesla's latch work and then what we're doing with the new latch system. So with Tesla's latch, there is a couple of components. So this guy here is where the main latch from the front comes and slides in. So it basically sits here, and with the manual front, if you don't push it, it'll just stay here. The minute you push this latch, what happens is you are basically exerting that force so that the latch comes through, and then this thing is a locking mechanism, and it comes, and then essentially it locks into its place. So your latch is gonna be sitting right here and here. So basically it grabs onto that latch with the current system. And then that latch is gonna touch this contact sensor right here, and it tells Tesla that, okay, so the latch has been closed. That means this is the frunk is closed. So Tesla is looking at this sensor here, and because it is closed, it will come down and just basically touches here. So imagine if this screwdriver is the frunk latch, it is telling Tesla that when it comes and touches this, that is telling that, okay, the frunk has been closed, that we are good to go. Now, when you tell Tesla, okay, frunk needs to now be released, when you open that frunk button on your frunk, on your app, what happens is Tesla actually activates this here. So this guy right here, it activates, and essentially what happens, it goes back, that means the frunk is open and it has been released. So that is how you can open the frunk. So that's a manual process right now because it only has a motor to open the frunk, but nothing else because the motor sits right there. It doesn't have an ability to just grab onto this and pull it. So we just need to add that. All we need to add is something that can grab onto here and then pull it down so that we can close the frunk. And then once it needs to be opened, Tesla can manually do that because Tesla already has a little motor that goes and open it. So all we need is something that can hold on to this guy, pull it down, and close the frunk. And that's exactly what we're doing. So this is the new system here. This is the new kit. And what we do is simply bring this and slide it on the back of the existing one. So this is how we're going to look at it. The holes line up perfectly because they made the kit for this, and all we have to do is then put this inside here, but we can't just simply put it here. We need to remove this spring just temporarily, put this, and then put this on the bottom of this screen tab that you see here, the spring. So what we're doing then is unlatching this. Be very, very careful with this step. You have to push it just this way, just a little bit. And when you push that, it allows you to slowly release that spring. And once you release that spring, it becomes a little bit of a gap here. And what you do is you take this bracket, so lift the spring just a little bit, and then you take this black bracket here and insert it underneath there. So your goal is to simply insert that black bracket there and close this down. You can leave that open. And then what happens is now you're going to put this spring back on. So you need to make sure that the spring is still back on. Now what we do, we just bring the spring again and put it on the latch. That is it. That is all you are doing because now we're gonna put this back. And that's super simple process because now you have that hook to grab onto the latch to tell Tesla like you need to close it. And then that latch will pull this down. That means when the latch is right here, it touches this contact on both of those contacts, then it tells Tesla that the frunk has been closed. So we are basically just aiding Tesla on bringing this latch down so that it can just help you push it down. Now, how does it know when to bring that latch down? That is where this new system has its own contact sensor when the latch is on the top. So the auto frunk, the struts will help the Tesla to bring the frunk down, but it will only land it right here. You still need something to latch it to work with Tesla's system. So what it does is when we push this here, so when the latch comes and pushes slightly here, it knows that there is a contact sensor. So it does that. And it allows it activates the new system, Teststudio's motor, and what it does is the motor then pulls it. So the signal for this latch to come down is right here. So once this is pushed a little bit, it knows that the latch has come down, then this pulls onto it. And that's it. Super simple step. Now let's go ahead and put this inside here and secure it into place. Now before you put this back on, there are two things that you need to make sure. This is spring that you see. This bracket is actually nudged in right there on top of that black bracket that we just installed here. Because oftentimes what people do is take this bracket and leave it right here, and that's not gonna do the job. So you wanna make sure that that bracket stays there. Second thing is you see that string there, the metal string, that is going to be pulling and unlatching the motor and latching the motor. You want to make sure that it is not in between those two contact sensors. Do you see the contact sensors there? Sometimes people forget that it goes on top, right here. So out of the contact sensor, not in between those two prongs. You gotta absolutely make sure that happens. And now we're ready to install this back on. So in this next step, we have aligned everything, ensure that this is a good fit here. Now we just have to align on our tape here, the masking tape, where our original position was. Make sure these two plates are in sync and there's no issues, and then you kind of have to look through here to see where that masking tape was for you, and then you can go ahead and put both of this, but don't tighten it yet because we need to adjust as needed, and that allows you to kind of secure this in place but not fully tighten this yet, and then you can move this around still. The goal is to put this exactly where we removed it from, so you're gonna have to align this a little bit more by just going around. So that's the next job. Just make sure that this is exactly where we removed it from. That way your frunk is going to sit nice and tight here. Now after you secure this whole assembly, we're going to wire a few things, test it out before we do all the wire routing and everything. So first thing I wanted to tackle is the power. So this is the Model 3 battery here, and you need to push this up to basically expose this plug there. That's the power positive pole of the Tesla for 12 volt, and this is the power cable they sent. Now here's the issue. Normally for like a Model Y, there is a giant like a screw here that you can remove and then put this in, and that would be good. For older Teslas, that was the case, so they would send you something like this where you can put it in and you'll be good. But not with the new Model 3s because this is very limited there. So what we need to do is actually we are gonna have to cut this off right here, and then we're gonna have to expose the wire and basically put the wire around here and then put an electrical tape. So that's what we're gonna do here, because this method does not work because we don't have a way to secure this in there. So I am basically going to cut this somewhere here, and once this is cut, I have this wire that I'm going to simply strip. Just give yourself a little bit of room so that you can kind of loop this wire around, and we're going to go ahead and get this stripped out. So I've stripped this wire here and give myself some decent length, and what we're gonna do is grab our electrical tape, get it handy, and then basically we can go here and secure this like this. So if you look at it, you're just going to be wrapping this wire around so it is secure, it is connected to the positive pole, and now we're simply going to take our electrical tape and wrap this around. So I have wrapped this on electrical tape, and this is pretty secure. I'm gonna leave my top one open because probably gonna install another product in the future that needs to do the same thing. And you can just bring this and secure it. So like this, it still goes in and covers this, and it kind of looks like this wire came from the factory now because it's all covered and good to go. So the positive battery terminal for the Model Y Juniper is much easier than Highland. So what we would do is simply insert this and take this bolt that came with it, the nut, and then we are just going to secure this into its place. Now bring your big harness here. We're not gonna connect anything we haven't connected. Of course, I'm gonna show you where everything goes, but bring your big harness here and find the ground cable. So this is going to be the ground cable. It's a black cable with this tab here, so you know which one it is. We haven't connected the power. Don't connect the power. That's gonna be the last thing we're gonna do. Just leave it at that tab there, and then so basically grab this, and you have a lot of options for ground, right? You could go right there, you could go right here, you could even go right there, but what we're gonna do is use that one. That one's pretty open, and super simple process. We just have to undo this, insert it, secure it. So again, 10 millimeter, we just have to undo this here, loosen it enough so that you can put your ground plug in. You don't even have to do it all the way through, just need to have enough space from the back. I think that's probably even good. So I'm going to take the ground and see if there's enough. Yep. So we can go from the back here and secure that. So that thing is inserted. Now, all I'm doing is putting this back on. And there you go. So this is secured. This is not coming off. This is secured. So we just use the Tesla's existing ground. So all of this wiring may look a little intimidating, but let me show you that this is super simple. No two plugs are the same. So they have very specific purpose, and if you try to plug different things into different ports, it's not gonna fit anyway. So there's just a few of the critical plugs that I wanna talk about here. And first of all, of course, this giant thing just goes and plugs it into the control box. And even this one, there is a side that goes in. So right now, this is not gonna go in. So it needs to fit in this way, where you have this notch, you're gonna push it in and just secure this. So the control box is plugged in with the big harness. We're not gonna worry about mounting this, anything yet, because we wanna go ahead and do the testing. Next, we're gonna look for this plugs here, the white plugs that look like this. They have two pins, one big and one small, and they're connected, they're identical. And these are for the struts. And this is such a stupid design that they made it this so short and the other one so long. Like, the two struts need to go on either end of it. Luckily, the strut cables are long enough, but I don't know why they would do that. Like, just make both of them the same length. But essentially, you have to kind of plan this out on which strut that you connect to. It doesn't matter, but basically, wherever this control box is gonna sit, whichever side you decide to put this, on the right side or left side where you are planning on hiding this, you wanna make sure that that side has the shorter cable and the other side has the longer cable so that it reaches. For me, I'm likely going to mount the controller somewhere on this side, on my left side here. So what I'm gonna do is grab the shorter cable and plug it into this side. So this is my left side strut wire that's coming from the front. And this is super simple. The small plug goes on the small plug here. You just press it, secure it, and then the other one, exactly the same. There's the opening, there's the plug that you can pinch through to take it out, and then you just lock it into its place. This is good to go. So one of the strut is done. Now we're gonna grab the other side strut and connect it to the longer cable. So this is the cable from the other side, the right side strut, and what I'm gonna do is essentially bring this in, and just like what I said earlier, you just have to, the bigger one goes into the bigger one, locks into its place. The other one goes here, secures it. As I said, we haven't did wire management or anything. This is just basically hanging from the side. Just want you to know that. I haven't done any type of wire management or anything. So those two struts are done. Now we need to connect the rest of the wires. Now I want you to grab this big cable that looks like this plug that has the 4-pin here, and grab the motor plug. Again, this motor hasn't been secured or anything yet, but essentially grab this and push it in. So secure this in place. So this is good to go. So the motor cable is connected as well. Now there's just a few more things left on this step. We need to bypass this latch motor, the OEM Tesla latch motor with this yellow and red plug. And it's super simple. You just have to kind of lift this pin here, and while you're lifting this up, you just have to push it down, and the color matches here, so not a hard thing to figure out which plug goes where. And this plug, you want to just make sure that you can plug this in and lock it in place. And this is extremely important. You want to put this back right away. The reason is that in case you forget to put this in and you just connected this and not to the Tesla's latch, what happens is if you close this frunk and then you try to open the frunk, it's not gonna open. Not even the 12-volt battery like jumping, none of that is gonna work. So you wanna make sure that this is closed in. If that does happen to you, I hope it doesn't, you're gonna have to remove the wheel and then reach from that area and then try to get to plug this one. So that's the only way you can do that. So make sure this is plugged in, but this bypass is super simple. This is the Tesla's plug. You connect it to the new male plug. Now, the female plug, the new male plug goes and plugs into the Tesla's port here. So that's super easy. Now that's done. There's one more plug and we'll be ready to test this. Now there's just 2 more plugs left. This is the latch that we installed earlier, and basically this guy here, this is the OEM Tesla plug that just connected to Tesla in this port. Now, extremely important, before you plug this in, make sure your car is unlocked. If your car is locked, it's gonna start beeping at you like crazy. So if it does beep at you, just unlock the car and you'll be fine. But basically you wanna make sure that that car is unlocked. And so what you do is you bring this, you slide it, and then as soon as you plug it in, you're going to hear the car going, the sound and everything, because the car woke up. And as I said, if the car is locked, it's gonna start beeping like crazy. So make sure the car is unlocked for this stage. So that's what you need to do here. Now we have one last plug that we need to do right here. Then grab this plug here that has the push pin right here, and then face that towards the front, the push pin towards the front, and just go here and then plug this in and lock this into its place. So now you are done. We're ready to test this out. Next, we're going to grab this plug here. This is the power plug. So all we're doing is putting that in. So my kit had one more opening here, and that looked like this. And normally I think other kits have buzzers in it, but I believe this thing is built with the buzzer in the control center. And this is just to close the frunk. So we used to see this typically on the older Teslas where it would close the trunk, but I think they put it here just so we can test it out. So this is not a final install, because why would I need another button? I already have a button in the front, but I think this allows me to close the frunk to test this out without needing to put the main frunk button. So let me go ahead and try that. Okay, when I plug the button, there is a light, so that's a good thing, but it didn't make any beep or anything, so I'm not sure if everything is working properly. This is the frunk button that we need to normally plug in, but they send the button, so I'm gonna test that. I did, just for safety, I did put a little string here on this latch in case we close it and then this frunk does not open. This is just for safety reason. I just put it right here because, as I demonstrated earlier, if you fully close this out, you can unlatch it using this. So I'm basically just going to run the string here just in case, just for safety purposes. But this is good to go. Let me go ahead and test this out. But just one more time, wiring wise, the frunk strut, this goes here and then connects to this plug. And then the other one comes and connects to the other plug that looks like exactly like that one. This is just the button here. This is the motor plug. This guy right here is connected to one of the plugs, and then the original one is connected here. And we did a bypass right here for the latch motor. And then finally we connected the power and the ground. So those are all the wirings that we did. Let's go ahead and test this out. So I'm ready to test this out. I don't know why I'm a little nervous here. I mean, I've done all the wiring and everything, so it should be good, but let's go ahead and give this a try. I'm going to be using this front close button to see if that works first before I bring in this button because it's a little bit bigger here. So, moment of truth. It's coming down. It did the job. That looks really good. It looks flush, so we are good to go. Now, let me open it from the car and see if that works, and then we'll try the app as well. So, going into the car, open it, there you go. That worked. Okay, now that we have tested this and everything is working, we need to go ahead and do some of this wire management, and we still have this emergency release latch that we need to route it to the front toe. Now, something about this latch here, if you're worried that somebody is gonna be just able to open the frunk because it is right there, that is not true. This latch doesn't really open the frunk. What it does, it is basically kills the motor. So in case that motor needs to be shut down and operate in a full manual mode, that is what this does, is when you pull this, the motor essentially just stops rolling, so there is no latching or anything from the new system side, the new auto frunk. The regular frunk will work normally in case the battery dies here and your car is locked. Then you can use the 9-volt or a little 12-volt battery to connect to those 2 poles down there to basically open the frunk so you can jump the battery. But this thing honestly doesn't do anything other than, as I said, it kills the motor in case it is needed. It's not gonna open the frunk. So this is super simple step. All you have to do is push on the right side here, and while you push this, it basically pops out from this side. You can pull it, and then you'll just see that there's just a few tabs that this is held onto, and these are your poles for the jumping of the battery. So in case your car dies, you can use this so that you can jump the car by opening the frunk. This allows you to manually open the frunk, but not anybody could just go in and do that on a normal circumstances. Your car's battery has to be dead and your car has to be locked to be able to do that. So there's the safety feature for that. Now what we do is we use a fishing wire to fish this towards the front and route that cable. So what I did is I basically went from the bottom, just shoot it straight from there, and it just comes out right here. That part is hollow down there, and you're able to see it right here. I got that on a first try, but basically that is what you do, is push it from here. Now we're gonna put some electrical tape here to connect this and then route it to the front. So I have put some electrical tape on the one end of the fishing cable there and basically hooked up the latch there. Now I'm simply going to pull it from the front. You may have to help it out a little bit here, but there's a pretty big void there. So should be able to simply pull this out from right here on the corner. If it gets stuck, don't over pressure that. You just have to take your time on pulling this out. And it is out here, so we're gonna undo this and we're basically going to clip that here and put some electrical tape. So basically I can wrap it kind of backward, put it in middle of those two prongs there, and you can go ahead and put the electrical tape to secure it. If you're worried about touching those two poles, you can also kind of wrap it like this so the metal person does not touch them, and then you can just use the electrical tape to secure this cable right here in case you need it in the future. So once you have secured this here, this knob right there where is the notch going out goes on the part that is going to go inside, and then there is going to be a little notch here that aligns on the other side. You just have to find that hole and then simply push this in to secure it in place, and this is good to go. Now for all the wire routing, they send you some 3M adhesive. We're gonna definitely use this for the controller and the motor. They send you some smaller zip ties for smaller cable management and some bigger zip ties for bigger ones. And then you need to use some electrical tape for other wire routing. But basically, it's just attaching, finding some voids in the car to put this in. So let's start with the motor. I actually cut one of this 3M into two pieces so that I can put it on two sides in the motor here, one on the actual motor right here, and then one here. So that way we have the maximum amount of coverage to hold this in place. So basically that's what I'm gonna do, and I can remove this, and then basically the job is to stick the motor in the corner here. So now I'm ready to go. I am simply going to make sure the cable and everything is hidden down there, find an optimal spot here to put this. So in the corner, kind of wedge this in and essentially do that. And this is good to go. This is secured and in place. So one down. Let's go ahead and work on the rest of the stuff here. I found a pretty good spot for the controller box here. That's the main one anyways, the hardest one to hide, and it seems that this spot is really open. So what we'll do is put some double-sided tape here and attach it with the wire probably hiding there. But just to be secure, I'm gonna connect a few zip ties and make sure that the whole thing is wrapped, just for extra precaution. You don't want to just leave it with the double-sided tape, but that's where we're gonna route this. So I made sure that the shorter cable for the latch here, the struts, is coming here on this side, and then the longer cable is going from there. So let me show you the wire routing and everything on how I did mine. So I have put the double-sided tape here. I am going to insert this fully in, and then probably somewhere around here, and basically press it up, and that is good to go. I'll probably push it even further a little bit, but that's good to go. It is not interfering with anything and it's hidden. So that bottom, the component, the controller should be pretty secure with the double-sided tape. But what I decided to do was connect a few zip ties together, and basically went from the bottom and took it out from that opening there, and then from this opening, and then connected it. I don't know if this will do much, but just wanted to be extra secure that this was not going to fall while driving. So that's what I did, just for additional security there. So I've routed two of the wires so far. One is this Frunk strut for my left frunk here. It is going through the plug and it's coming from that main control unit. And then the other is the power. So this is the power cable it is going through. Probably going to zip tie it right here or figure this out there, but it's not that bad. It's already looking really good. And then use some electrical tape. I used some zip tie there with the existing wiring, and basically I passed it through here. Now for the power cable, took it out from here, connected to this wire, and then basically took it all the way there. I zip tied it. And then the other one, I basically took it from there. If you look at it, it's hanging out there. And then the strut basically is coming out. So you take the strut, pass it through all of this, take it out, and then take it there, as well as the power cable from there, from this space there, zip tie a couple of places, and there. It's already looking pretty clean, but I still have all of this to route. So if you remember last night when I installed this, I had my ground cable connected right there. And now because I put the control box there, this became a little short, and I'm gonna improvise here and connect the ground right there. So this is one of those things that as you go and look through it, you might need to change a few things, but the ground, you have a lot of flexibility because you can connect it anywhere. So I'm gonna connect the ground right there. So my ground is now sitting there, and I basically routed that with the rest of the cables that we had already routed. So now we have the strut, we have the power, and the ground just going through that channel there. Now from this side, I just have to route this right strut. So what I ended up doing is basically routing there and then putting it through inside. And if you look at it closely there, I actually took that cable out from the right side. So it is not gonna mess with any of the Tesla's stuff. It's just coming through the right there. Then what I did is route it here, put a zip tie with this big connector, and then simply routed it. Just be careful that this is your windshield supply line. So you wanna make sure that you don't damage that or hook anything to that, because you wanna preserve that line. And basically, so this is our struts line. We came it from the bottom here and connected to this connector, and then just drop it here. I'm just going to use some electrical tape. So you see that, brought that cable from the top and the connector. Just don't forget that this is the Tesla's OEM one, so we don't have to do anything about it yet. And then what I did is we're gonna take this, and then we're almost done. So from there out, you have to leave enough slack for this cable. Whatever management that you do here, kind of hide it, tuck it underneath that area, collect all of this cable, and then make a roll and tuck it there. And I did cap the button here, so because we're not gonna be telling that close button anymore, so I did cap that. And you can use some zip tie to secure this in place, but basically, I may do a little bit more management here so it looks better, but we're done. We routed everything. We're gonna do one more testing and then put the cover back on. So since all of this is cleaned up and ready to go, let's do one more testing, and let's see. Looks good to me. Now, before you put the front bracket, don't forget to put these flaps that we had removed earlier. So they go right here, because the front, the cover is going to cover this whole thing otherwise. So just go ahead and put these clips and secure it. There are 3 different locations. Do the same thing on the other side. Next, we are just going to start putting everything back together. This is the front cover. That's the first step. That we're going to put this back and align this, make sure it fits, and if it doesn't, then there's something on the way that we need to watch out for. Yeah, this is going in, and make sure everything is aligned properly. There you go. We are good to go. So now we can start putting the 10mm sockets here. Next, we're gonna make sure that this wire is out so we can connect the button, and then go ahead and secure all of this. After you put those 10mm sockets there, don't forget to plug these buttons in and push this to secure it in place. After this is secure, don't forget about this bracket, and if you have any other Teslas with different models, your bracket is probably gonna be at different location, but for Highland, this is where the bracket is, and you just have to simply push it to secure it into its place, and we are good to go. And finally, we put this top bracket on, and our install is done. Just line up all the pins for that bracket. Do not push it down until everything is lined up, and then you can then push it down and secure this in its place, and we are done. So everything is good. Let's close this out, and the install is done. Right there, it goes in. Perfect. So let's do the demo with the phone and then the screen. So with the phone right here, we're going to hit the Frunk open, and you saw it completely opened and made a beeping noise. It stopped there. Now let's do the close from the Frunk. So we'll just hit close, and it goes and fully closes it. So app control, good. Let's go ahead and do the inside control now. Now we are going to use the screen here. So open the Frunk. It goes in and opens it. Now we are going to close the Frunk by simply pressing on close, and it goes and it closes it. So some of the safety features here, what if you are doing something in the Frunk and either somebody from the front screen or you accidentally press on this button. So if you're doing something here and then you accidentally press the button, it starts coming down, it hits you, and then it goes right back up. So it does have that type of a safety measures built in. You can also do a anti-pinch test towards the bottom here. So I'm just gonna put my hand, and as soon as it touches it, it's a soft touch, it's not even a hard touch, it just goes right back up. The closer you get here, it is gonna sense it, it's gonna stop, but it is not as soft, and it'll just stay right there. It's not gonna go back up. So let's say if you're seated down, and then if you had your hands in here, it will stop. So it is not going, it is not pinching me or anything. It is free, I can move it, but it just kind of stays right there. It is good to know that it's not going to just smash into my hand and pinch it. So that is a benefit that you get. And once you stop it, look, like no matter what you do, Tesla recognize it, the system recognize it, and now it is not going to let you close this. So that is the benefit that you get. And of course, that will allow you to just open it. So anti-pinch design, it does a really good job. I love how soft it is too, right? Like it doesn't slam into you. I'm just putting my hand right here, and it just goes back up. So as I have repeatedly said throughout the video, I absolutely love the Auto Frunk design. I like having the convenience, hands-free experience. I think they did a good job with the parts and material. They have come a long way. Back in the days, several years ago, you would have to take apart a lot more things on the Tesla to make this work. Even that notch that you see where you need to pull the latch and everything, that all needed a design changes. So they have come a long way with this. There is less wiring now, even though it looks like there's a lot of wiring. Back in the days, it used to be a lot more wiring. So I'm happy to see that they are advancing and they're figuring out how to make this work as least installation as possible. I hope you found my installation video helpful and you can follow along, but do keep in mind that as comprehensive as I can get, Tesla could have slightly changed a design on yours. So some Frunk may have the bolts on the top part as well, just not in the bottom. So please be very, very careful while you're taking apart anything. If it feels stuck, maybe there is another bolt somewhere or something is different on your car. So do your research, look at your specific owner's manual. Generally, all Teslas are the same, so I think you will find it super easy to use my video as a guide, educational purposes, but I do caution that to everybody that you have to do this at your own risk. You have to look and you have to do your research, you have to look at your parts and whatnot. There's always a risk with third-party aftermarket modification, especially this big. There could be something that goes wrong with your latch. There could be anything that goes wrong. So be cautious, do this at your own risk, take your time, do your research. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you found today's video helpful, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and come back again soon.